I was stubborn. Why am I being told that I can't make my own choices and I can't spread my wings and fly to where I want to? So these are things, Reeta, which were being inflicted on us, generally speaking, but on me to make me feel, this is a place where you have to struggle to affirm and to assert yourself.
Hello, and welcome to Transcending Boundaries. I'm Reeta Roy. Our guest today was born in rural Mozambique in 1945. Weeks before her birth, her father, a farmer and a lay minister, passed away. Yet in his final days, he asked that his unborn child be educated. Her mother carried that vow with courage and devotion, shaping a destiny far greater than anyone could have ever imagined. That promise carried her from mission schools, where she excelled, to classrooms where she was the only Black student among 40 white pupils, an experience that awakened her political consciousness. In Portugal, she found her voice in the anti-colonial student movements. She returned to Africa to join Frelimo, training as a guerrilla fighter and dedicating her life to Mozambique's liberation. At just 29, she became the Minister of Education, leading one of Africa's most ambitious post-independence education drives. She raised school enrollment from 40% to over 90%, proving that learning could be the backbone of nation building. She has shared her life with two giants of history, President Graça Machel and President Nelson Mandela. Yet she has always stood as a towering figure in her own right, a humanitarian, global advocate, human rights activist, and founding member of the Foundation for Community Development, the Graça Machel Trust, and the Elders. It is my profound honor to welcome Dr. Graça Machel. Graça, welcome. Welcome to Transcending Boundaries, and thank you so much for making time to be here to share your story.
It's such a pleasure. And for you, I would be anywhere. Thank you
nice.
so much.
Much too nice. Maybe the best place to start is in the beginning, when you were just a baby. I understand you were born in rural Mozambique in a little village called Incadini. And sadly, your dad passed away a few weeks before you were born. But he made your mom promise that you would be educated. And she did an amazing job to keep that promise. Would you talk a little bit about her and what you remember of her and the lessons she instilled in you?
You know, my mother was a person of not many words. She was very quiet, but a very strong presence. For a child, what was important for me is that my mother was always present. And we were a family with not much, but she got things done. We were 6 of us. The elders were out of the home at the time, so we were 4 of us. But I don't remember us having a sense of wanting. Everything was there in a small way, but in a perfect way. And I remember we used to talk with the one who I followed. We were very close, my sibling. We would really realize that Mom gets things done. And much later, when I grew up, I could read that and give it the meaning. The other thing which of those days, she was very quiet. But she had a way of expressing love. I remember when my mother is very happy, I will see the smile, but also there was a gesture she always had. She would do this on my face. When she is upset, you will see it in her eyes. And it was very rare for her to shout because of her nature, to shout. But she would look at you with a very severe look. And you know, I messed up. So I learned from my mother that sense of presence for us. I never felt I was orphaned, by the way. No, I didn't know what it meant to be orphaned, because I was very much loved, taken care of, getting everything I needed. Only much later I will explain when I got the conscious of, oh, I'm an orphan. But I didn't have it until much later. My mother was someone who would tell you things at the right moment. For instance, it was only at the age of 13 she told me that my grandmother, the person I knew as my grandmother, was not in fact my, grandmother of blood, but she was the youngest woman of my grandfather. Because my grandfather had many women, and then there's one, the youngest, who didn't have a boy. And my father had lost his mother much early. So my grandfather said, take this one, you nurture him, because when you get old, this is the one who's going to take care of you, which really happened. So my mother developed this. We had a very good relationship with this grandmother of mine. Only when I was 13, she tells me that, but you know, your real grandmother passed away when your father was very, very young. And that's when she showed me where my real grandmother was living. And this is this much later. She didn't want to disturb. I had what I needed. I had love. This grandmother of mine, she was perfect to me. So there was no need to reveal stories, etc. Unless that she felt when the time was right, she would tell me, this is where your grandmother lies. So lessons of life is like what many people say, you are born in a poor family. I was not born in a poor family. No. I had really abundance in the real sense of being loved, being nurtured. But most importantly, from the very early age, I was allowed to be myself. I had to read this much later, but to understand that the importance of I'm a girl, but I'm allowed to be myself. And that this has instilled in me the deep respect which I have for any individual, but particularly to give girls the right place they deserve. It came from my mother.
Wow, what a tribute to your mom. What a tribute. And you obviously were a very, very smart young girl. And you went on to school. I understand it was mission school, but you found yourself in high school in Maputo. And you have written or spoken about the fact it was also a bit of a lonely time being in that school. You were the only black girl in a school, in a classroom of 40 girls.
Classroom, yes.
A classroom, 40 girls. But something awakened at that time. Will you share more about that?
Yes, one is we girls in the school were very few of us. And naturally, during the breaks, we would come together. And we were aware that we are in minority here. But what really touched me, it is one of the teachers who decided, at the beginning you have to introduce yourself, and the teacher says who you are, and he writes down names of all of us. He made it clear that he would not understand my family name. Graça was easy because it's Portuguese, okay? But my family name is Simbini. And when I tried to tell him I'm Graça Simbini, he made a face and said, sing, how do you write this? And he made me go to the blackboard to write it because he could not write a name of a black family. All the other teachers were able to understand it. They wrote it without really questioning. But he made me feel this. So I go and I write on the blackboard. But then when I come back, perhaps because I was conscious of what was happening, I could hear my own steps. When you go, ko, you are working, going back to my seat. The second thing was he made it sure that I didn't have a name, I was a number. So from the beginning, during the whole year, he would call me number 15. All the other girls had names, but I was number 15. And of course, a child feels and look around and say, I'm out of place. I'm a stranger here. And then, of course, I started questioning, how is it that I will be really in this classroom, the only black girl, perhaps that makes him feel he has the right to put me on my place. And then looking around to the whole school, as I'm saying, at the beginning I hadn't made it a point, but I realized that we were really very few of us. And then there was also another thing, is we get out of school, and when we go home, we would take different paths. All the other children who were white or they were of Indian origin, they go one direction, and we as black children, we go then to the township. And it was very clear, separate ways. So that was the beginning of me understanding, we were millions of Mozambicans here. And all these other people, they are just hundreds of thousands. They're not even, well, perhaps there could be a million, I do not know. But the way we're being clearly, made to feel that we are stepping into a space which we do not belong. But at the same time, you have a very strong sense of belonging because
you're home.
I'm Mozambican and we are millions of us who are Mozambicans. So how is it that a smaller group will treat us this way? But I was not deep enough, but I felt it. And I know that I really had a very tense relationship with that teacher of mine. But fortunately, he was changed to another class much later. But it stuck. It stuck on me. Then much later, when I have the opportunity to get a scholarship, and I'm preparing to go to Portugal, one of the things which you needed is to have a clean health card. So I go and I have to do all the exams to make sure that, and then this doctor, a female doctor, looks at me and she says, "But why do you want to go to Portugal? It's very far from your family. You will feel lonely there. Why don't you stay here and you do any kind of a course? You become a secretary, you become a nurse if you like. Why do you want to go to Portugal?" I remember looking at her and said, "Doctor, I came to do the exams for me to prove that I'm healthy. I didn't come to ask you for a career orientation. I have made up my mind." I was stubborn. And this thing of being stubborn had started exactly a bit earlier, but it's not part of this conversation. But I remember very well. So you are growing in your classroom. You are told this just because I need a health. Now, I'm told you shouldn't go. You should be a secretary. You should be a nurse. Why am I being told that I can't make my own choices and I can't spread my wings and fly to where I want to? So these are things, Rita, which were being, inflicted on us, generally speaking, but on me to make me feel, this is a place where you have to struggle to affirm and to assert yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that trip to Portugal, going to study, I think you wanted us to focus in on languages, and you are quite a linguist, as I understand. How did that continue to evolve, the stubbornness? But really, it was a consciousness that was rising.
Fortunately, in Portugal, I met students coming from other colonies at the time, from Angola, from Guinea and Cape Verde, and instinctively, we became a sort of a family. And the boundaries of I'm a Mozambican, you are Angolan, you are Cape Verdean, didn't make any sense. So we really developed a sense of sisterhood and brotherhood, which then led us to have conversations. One thing is what I felt because it was inflicted on me. Another one is now all of us, we talk about our experiences. How did we come to this place? Again, we are a minority, but what does it mean that now we are this family, but coming from the different origins which we had? It is really where the consciousness came, to be honest. One thing it was still there, but with the group, it became much, much more clear. We used to organize parties, all young people like parties, to organize parties. Then we would put music very loud so that we could talk about what we wanted to talk about, our experiences and what we should do. So I happened to have met at the time the best friend of my life, really. She was from Angola. And we clicked in a very special way. And so, with Amelia, it's her name, Amelia, we used to read and exchange books which would open even much more, our understanding of how this colonial system works. And we develop really a habit of selecting issues we should be discussing together as two friends, but also for these party meetings which we used to organize. So we started to be much more awake and take much more responsibility, and to know what kind of information is of importance for the leadership, in Tanzania. I did take you, I mean, a long way just for you to know that from the secondary school where I was discriminated, for the Portugal where I opened up and I have friends from all the colonies, I even make one of my best friends in life. How do I then connect with Tanzania? For years, we used to send information which they were asking us through a Mozambican, white Mozambican, who could travel easily from Lisbon to France to take information to someone in France, and from France to connect with the Algiers, which were the closest office of Frelimo, closest to Europe, okay? So this young man, because he's white, he could travel easily. And guess what? He was in what they call high military studies.
Wow.
Because he was white, they thought, well, he is a Mozambican who is going to go back to Mozambique to be a governor or to be or some. Little did they know that in his heart was serving the struggle. And we would work with him as black as we are, but he was one of us. It's just to say, those days, who do you talk to? Who do you get the information? Do you pass it on? It has to be carefully done in a way really you wouldn't risk yourself to be arrested and so forth. So that's the thing of how did I end up, I mean, how did I organize my living now, Portugal? Because I had this connection.
Now, one of the things which people will never associate with you is that you truly were this freedom fighter. That people think about advocacy, speaking, on podiums and talking about freedom, but you really were in the struggle, and you learned to use weaponry.
Yes.
And put together an assault rifle. But just that time of incredible activity, and in the midst of it, how did you feel about that? You knew you weren't going to go back to that system, but did you know or did you sense that this too will come to pass and that there would be an independent country? There would be a government that really stood for its people?
There's a long story behind it, but the decision to join the struggle, directly, the armed struggle, was a decision of no matter what happens, but I have to be part of that generation of Mozambicans who have broken completely with the Portuguese system, and they are ready to do whatever it requires for the liberation of the country. And that's why I had to prepare my mother that I'm not so sure, because I didn't know what could happen. And when you join, Rita, you are prepared. I mean, you can die. Some of our colleagues died during this struggle. So we didn't even know how long it would take until Mozambique is free. It is to say, this is a cause I'm prepared to give the best of myself for it, even if at the end it's required to give my life for. So that was the thing. Now, you are asking about the training. It was a must for all of us, because you are going to fight for the freedom of your country, but you have to protect yourself. You are fighting against the enemy, but you have to keep yourself alive. And you're not going to keep yourself alive if you don't know how to
assemble a weapon.
Exactly, the weapon. And also, if you happen to be ambushed, you have to fight, really. If you have to. So it was a must. The first thing you do when you get into the camp is to Well, they would give you the introduction, explain everything, but then we are given a uniform and you start training. You have in front of you men and women, because we were girls, so we also had some instructors, as they were called, who were female. And you start training, marching, and then when you have done the first fight, that's when you are given, the rifle itself to show how to manage it. And then you have trained, have to know how to use the rifle, how to use the pistol as well, the small one, how to use a grenade.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all those things you have to know, because you don't know. It depends on the situation where you are. You can be able to do something which is required. So I did learn all those things. So this is part of what I did. But I wanted to tell you a story when I was training. One of the girls, the young ladies who was my instructor, she was very tough. Her name, it was Paulina. And she was really very good in training. She was very determined. She wouldn't allow us, to be lazy, or you say you are tired, whatever. She was very, very tough. But then I discovered, I'm speaking to her, I discovered that she can't read and write.
Oh, wow.
She was perfect, in training, but she couldn't read and write. So I went to the leadership of the camp and I said, listen, I discovered that my own instructor cannot read and write. And possibly there are other amongst them who are illiterate as well. I would like really to do something in the evening, despite being tired, but I would like to teach, a group, not many, a group of them how to read and write. I was allowed to do this. And the reason I'm telling you this, it's twofold. One is the relationship between the two of us. During the day, she's my boss. She gives me instructions to do everything I'm supposed to do. But in the evening, she is my student. And she sits down and I'm the teacher. So I learned also in that process of depending on where you are, you have to learn to do different things, respecting her as my instructor. But when I'm a teacher, she respects me as her teacher. We developed a very, very interesting relationship, even after independence, because we happened to, our path did cross even after that. But then I want to tell you something else. My mother couldn't read and write. She was illiterate. She did all the things I told you, but she wouldn't. And Paulina reminded me of my mother.
Wow.
And I said, okay, I didn't have a chance to sit down and teach my mother to read and write. I'm going to teach this girl, because she is introducing me to a new world. But because I happen to be someone who read and write. In fact, I was being prepared to be a teacher, okay? Now I have to use, the knowledge I have to transmit to her. It was, and I always felt like, I wish I could have had the opportunity to teach my mother to read and write. But I taught Paulina, and in fact, there were other three, because they identify other three, so there were four of them.
But you taught more than four young people. You taught well over 1.5 million people.
Yes.
So she became Minister of Education, and you did an incredible thing to move just the enrollment of girls and boys and the literacy rates, from 40% to 90% of enrollment in school. So you did an enormous service to the country. But also what you just said about learning about who they are. It's not just about reading ABCs, it's about learning who they are, about their history, and their country, and that sense of self-worth that came with that must have given you so much satisfaction to be able to do that.
You know, these were the years. One, during the struggle. Second, when I became minister. These are the years which made me, which transformed me. And more than satisfaction from what I was doing at the time, they are the years through which one, I had to discover myself and what I am able to make as a contribution. But more importantly, that's when I learned about people, human beings. Because not like I was treated as a thing and a number. I learned to discover in human beings what lies within them and behind them. This passion, which today people say I'm an advocate for girls and women, it was not like I had to sit down and choose and say, what is the cause I want to embrace in life? No, these are causes which chose me because of the responsibilities which I had, and me identifying what are, one, the strengths, but also what are the obstacles and the constraints which these girls are facing. How then we can organize to unleash the potential they have, but is supporting them to overcome the constraints and the obstacles they culturally and even socially, as social norms, to discover their place in society.
Yeah.
That's what activism is all about.
But you brought that same energy, I know, through the UN when you authored that report about children in armed conflict. And I wonder about that time. But that report has changed many, many things, in terms of across the world. And to really recognize the plight young people shouldn't be in, and the need to, one, to look after them, to also honor them, and to provide them a path to education. What moved you to do that? And was it something also about your own experience? Obviously, as an older adult, older kid, let's say, in
that
an art
was
struggle.
Scary for me, I have to tell you. That one, it was a step which was really scary. Because I never thought of being at the global stage. No, I was very happy with being in Mozambique and tried to do things in Mozambican context. Then there was in Southern Africa an initiative which was called Children in the Front Line. So there were children from South Africa, Mozambique, from Angola, Namibia, all those countries there. And then there's a filmmaker, a woman filmmaker, who interviewed us, those who were supporting these children in the front line. That interview, I tried to describe what I feel about a child who has been forced to witness atrocities, including sometimes to see his or her colleagues being killed, the teachers, family members, etc. I tried to describe this, to say, the horror for me is how can on earth a child be forced to confront these realities? And we in Mozambique, I will say we in Mozambique, we tried then to minimize the impact of this conflict on children, and I described what we were doing. Guess what? That brings me to Stephen Lewis.
Oh, wonderful.
Because this film on children in the front line, for any reason, it landed in the hands of UNICEF. And Stephen Lewis is deputy UNICEF. The Secretary General, the General Assembly made a resolution that they should find somebody to lead what they called a study to allow the UN to understand better the impact of conflict on children. Stephen saw this video. He had never met me before. He saw this video and he sees how I describe my horror on how children are being treated, but also I describe what we're trying to do in Mozambique. So he decided this is the person we need to lead this. And he makes a proposal to number one of UNICEF. So they look for me and they find me. I'm in Mozambique and they say, oh, the Secretary General is going to appoint so-and-so. And days after, I'm having lunch, my phone. I go there, and it was Boutros Ghali, who was the Secretary General. And so I said, hello, he has a very funny voice. Hello, yeah. And this is the Secretary General of the UN. I said, sorry? He said, this is Boutros Ghali, the Secretary General of the UN. I want to speak to Mrs. Machel. I said, yes, I'm Mrs. Machel, but I don't think you are speaking to the right person. Are you Mrs. Machel? Yes. Yes, it's you. Then he explains what he was looking for. I said to him, Secretary General, no. I don't think really I'm the right person to do those things. No, but I had a proposal, and I think some people will speak to you, so think about it. That's how it started. Stephen Lewis.
Very persuasive.
Oh, but I said no to him.
Okay.
I continued to say, I said no to Boutros Ghali, no to Stephen Lewis, and Stephen Lewis then decided to send someone to meet me in person. Now, that's how I ended up being convinced to take up this study. Again, I didn't choose this.
It came for you.
It just came across me, and then I tried to do my best with support of Stephen Lewis, whom I'm going to be seeing this afternoon. Then we crafted, the best way of really, because I told him, I don't want to write a report on the basis of something written. I have to be face-to-face with children.
Yeah.
I have to be face-to-face with parents, teachers. And so we organized the whole exercise during 2 years, visiting countries, organizing regional consultations, also asking civil society organizations to research for us. We commissioned about 22 different research papers for us to prepare the report. So this thing taught me once again, you never do things alone.
Yes.
Never do things. So, well, the study carries my name because I was heading the team, but it was a very large exercise, and it was many people who contributed to it. And we owed this to children.
I'm going to go back in time, just back to that struggle, where in the midst of all this struggle, here you are, a guerrilla fighter, you're training, you're doing all kinds of things, and you meet Samora Machel. What was that meeting like? And of course you fall in love, you get married, and you have a life together. And I just wonder if there's a special lesson about what it means in all this craziness that is going on in the world around you. And there's a moment to be a human being.
Yeah. You see, like any other human being, this thing which is called love, it happens in one moment. It starts with one moment where you are talking to a human being, and this human being, for any reason, looks at you and you look at him. in a very special way. It just came as a communication, a strong communication of our minds first with some other. And he realized that in his position, he could organize moments for us to talk, really to discuss issues. But in those discussions, then the bond just started. And started, as I'm saying, just from one look. Just looking and feel, there's electricity here, a different kind of energy, which is coming from this look. So I did even try to repress it. I said, no. I don't want to get involved in this kind of relationship. This gentleman, he was already the president of Frelimo, right? He was the number one to lead the struggle. I'm a simple soldier. So for goodness sake, how do I now, close the gap, to be close to him? Honestly, I tried to repress it. I said, it's one of those things. I'm not going to. But then it grew, particularly then when I was forced by the responsibilities. I went to Mozambique earlier than him because we had to go to establish the government of transition and all that. So I'm far from him, and he is also far from me. That's when we realized that it was much stronger than just, Yeah, it was really something much more stronger in terms of our connection. And also because I am the kind of a person, I don't fall in love with somebody I don't admire.
Did you learn something about yourself just in this process, what it means to have and what it means to invest in a relationship?
Yes. One is I entered into this relationship because I am myself and he is himself. Despite the fact that he was a little bit older than me, and he also had a vast experience of being a leader, I made sure that in this relationship, we are going to be equal. He will be the person he is outside. But at home, we are equal. And he made it also easy, I must say, because Samara was really deeply a family person. He was the one, to teach me, because I was minister, he was president, and I would come sometimes I'm under pressure with issues which I needed to resolve for the following day. And I was tempted to bring work back home. And he said, Graça, this is our home. This is the place where you and we have to forget about the world, and it's about us, about our children. If each one of us here brings work home, we'll never be a family. But Samara was good in making sure that our family time is really sacred. And it is clearly to say, as parents, we have responsibility towards our children. But as a human being, we also need our own time to bond, to share. And we could have interesting debates. But as a persons, as human beings. And I have to say, I have been very, very lucky. It's a very, very fulfilling relationship. Despite the fact that he had all those very big and huge responsibilities. Yeah.
I think it's such a powerful message for people of every generation to know that whatever is happening around us, whatever roles we have in public life, our relationships with family, with spouses, with partners, that's our time, and it is about being real and authentic.
It is true.
And being who we are.
And it is something we have to nurture. To nurture in English, to nurture. Because it's easy for you to say, oh, there's so many other things. I'm so tired. No, you are tired with your work. You are not tired of your relationship.
Yes.
And I have to tell you something which also would really melt me. You know, sometimes we'd leave the office and make sure that in the state house we had a big garden. Before he gets into the house, he will step out of his car, go in the garden and find the best flower he could. He himself will cut this flower, particularly roses. He likes the roses, and then come into the house and say, "Hello, Mom." He would call me Mom. "Hello, Mom. I brought this for you." Ah.
Oh, wow.
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 I mean,
Charming.
it was just the world for me. Just the fact that before coming into the house,
That he would do.
he just think, no, I have to select myself the best of the rose I'm going to find in the garden and bring it to my wife. Oh, no, yeah. And this was...
Very
And
special.
it's important that I did have those things. I can smile when I think of those. Yeah.
Wonderful. What a very, very special thing. I want to talk just a little bit about Madiba. You know, the world knows him as Madiba or Nelson Mandela, who led an incredible struggle as well. Most of it from prison. And then the transformation that had to occur when he became president. That too was another incredible time. And in so many ways, you keep that trust and keep that legacy alive as well, in terms of that contribution, that amount of sacrifice for the world. South Africa, the history of apartheid, the struggle, has so much to teach us, especially today. And maybe in every generation, it will have a lot to teach us. When you think about that struggle as well, which is parallel to what you lived through, what do you think are the most important lessons people today should know about in terms of how we treat each other and how we see each other, not just what we look like or what color we are, but really how we see each other?
That alone, it could be a theme for another podcast. But let me just say very shortly one thing, which was for me, it was every time I was really observing Madiba and say, what a special human being. I think Madiba had learned from the time he was alone. He was isolated during the prison time. He learned to value people. Wow. More than what you do. I mean, one thing is to say, I'm fighting for our people, and no. But people, the one you touch and you speak to and you interact with, he learned to value this. And for me, it was one of the most amazing lessons. It's how Madiba treated human beings. Because if I say people, perhaps we can take it the political way. No. Human beings. And it is a child. It is an old person. It's a young person. No matter who you are, no matter what is your age, no matter what is your status, Madiba knew how to have a special connection with the human beings. And it was not a lesson. It was more than that. It was for me to wonder how how he was able, to find a special moment of connection with people. I'll tell you something which is very simple. Perhaps many people didn't even realize. Madiba would never shake hands with you without looking into your eyes. And you will say, how did he do this? Yes. I also ask, how did you do this? you would find a group of people piling. I mean, not piling. How do you say?
Crowded,
lining. Yeah, and the crowd. When he greets, he doesn't do as like people who do this and they're looking to the other side. Never. If you see a film now, you can try to. He'll look at you and say hello, and then if it's in a line in which you have a few seconds, he'll say, "I'm honored to meet you. I saw people crying because they're there in adoration to say, this is a special moment for me to meet Nelson Mandela." And then he comes, he says, "I'm so pleased to meet you. I'm honored to meet you." Looking into your eyes. And this took people
by surprise.
a surprise, not only emotionally touched. I tell you, I saw people crying. And when you sit with him, and he will say, "How are you?" And when he says, "How are you?" he's not asking while he's looking at the mirror or no, he's looking at you and say, "How are you?"
Well, I know we're going to come up to the end of our podcast. You have done so much this life. The work of the trust that you have set up, the advocacy, obviously, we have spoken about for young people, children, the importance of being grounded with people you love, who love you, with respect. When you look to the future, now here I want to talk about Africa. This work of a continent on the move, also transforming. And I know you were very recently speaking at the African School of Governance, and you said time has come. Time has come for African leaders really to rise in a way that creates opportunities for more people across the continent. What do you want everyone to know about in terms of what more should we be thinking about, what more organizations like the one I'm part of should be thinking about, what all of us should be thinking about when we look to the future and what is possible?
That's a tough question. It is.
I think you can handle it, though.
It is a tough question. You are running an organization which made a conscious decision to focus on young people. Yes, you support many other causes, but young people is your focus. And not only to say, "Oh no, let's give education," and all those things. It is education as well. But I think you made a very, very strategic decision of enacting in young people the power which resides in them, but to give it expression in a way they make choices, but choices for service.
Yes.
Choices for service. But you were good, and I want to pay tribute to you on this, in knowing that it's not about providing tools to people. They are important. But more than tools, it's exactly to, I don't know, because English is not my language, but it's that thing of making sure that every young person acknowledge, recognize, and unleash the power which exists inside each one of them. And then to say, yeah, you have really a limited, power, but that power has to be channeled for service to others. In our principle at GMT, we say the future is African, the future is female.
It will be. And it is an unbroken chain. An unbroken chain.
Yeah.
Graça, it is such an honor, such a treat to speak with you. And thank you so much for sharing. And maybe in a way we have to thank that teacher who called you number 50.
Number 50.
Just
yes.
unlocked something. Because you are exactly where you need to be. And you always have been. Exactly where you need
Thank you. Thank you, Reeta.
Thank you so
and thank
much.
you so much for having me. Thank you so much that our paths have crossed. And I think really we are together. I mean, giving the best we can. And for me, the important thing, it's not what we do, it's to do it the best we can.
Yeah. Thank you. Amen to that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. From a small village in Mozambique, where her mother honored a promise made before she was even born, to the front lines of a liberation struggle that reshaped a nation's destiny. From the quiet strength of a teacher to the fierce resolve of a freedom fighter. From First Lady to global advocate, human rights activist, policy shaper, and relentless defender of women and children's rights. From the depths of a devastating loss to a love that redefined what it means to begin again. From Mozambique and South Africa to the world stage, Graça Machel's journey is one of courage, purpose, and boundless compassion. Her life stands as a testament to the power of education, justice, and visionary leadership. Graça Machel's forthcoming memoir and wider legacy preservation initiatives of the Graça Machel Trust are not only about honoring her incredible life story, but about ensuring her voice and vision continue to inspire justice, empathy, and leadership for generations to come.